Hey there, everybody. The purpose of this video is to get you kind of a primer or introduction to this spreadsheet that I'm talking about on this homework about unit fractions. So it says you have to open a spreadsheet and watch a video to see how it works, both of which are linked on my main COCC page. So if you go there, it's partially there right now. There's the link to the Excel sheet. So this is the main page with my stupid picture. Here's the actual Excel sheet link, and then down here, there's no link here yet. There will be a link here because I'm recording the video right now, which makes me feel kind of meta. But anyway, there'll be a link here, and I want to show you how to use the actual spreadsheet. It's pretty straightforward, really. Here's the spreadsheet that will open, and I want to just explain to you what you're looking at. So these numbers will look familiar. You'll recognize them as the ones we looked at in class. So we've got Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, all the way down to Wyoming. You got it, states in alphabetical order. The difference is here what you have is the area of the state in square miles. So they're not in increasing area order, they're in alphabetical order. So the states are all mixed up. The smallest state square mile wise is Rhode Island down here. Yeah, 1,000 square miles, just about 1,000 square miles. And then the largest state is going to be Alaska, way up here, 571,000 square miles. Crazy how big Alaska is. California is definitely huge, but nothing compared to Alaska. Don't tell Texas that Alaska's bigger because they get very upset. Anyway, so that's that. And then what I put next to that in this column is the population of that state. So Alabama, with an area of about 51,000 square miles, has a population of about 4.8 million people. Now, what I wanted to do with this spreadsheet was to get a density measure. You've probably heard me use the word, and I know you've heard it before in other places, per capita. So, it's one thing to look at the area of a state and go, wow, Alaska's huge. It must have a lot of people in it. But that's not necessarily true. You have to look at how many people are in the state and then compare it to something else in the state so you have kind of an equalized measure. There's a phrase, comparing apples to apples. Just recently, I discussed this with someone. Somebody put the top 10 cities that have the 10 largest homeless populations in them. And they said, it was Los Angeles and New York City and San Francisco, and they had the number of homeless in each of those cities. Well, the problem is, of course, they're going to have the most homeless people. They have the most people, period, which means you're going to have the most homeless people most likely. To give you an example, suppose the homeless rate is 1%. That means 1 out of every 100 people is homeless. Well, a city that has more people, therefore, is going to have more homeless people. So what you really need to do is do a comparison per capita. And this is one way of doing it. I'm going to show you the one way of doing this here. So what I did in this little cell over here in cell E3 was I put a little mathematical formula. It says equals D3 divided by C3. When I click on the formula, you can see it highlights that blue cell and that red cell. So what it's doing is it's taking the population and dividing it by the area. So think about the unit. Population over area. Population over area. If you're talking about what units are even more specific to those, population is number of people and area is in square miles. So when you divide 4,863,300 by 50,744, you get about 96. That means Alabama, if you were to spread those people out evenly across the entire state of Alabama, you'd have 98 people per square mile. Now, remember what a square mile is. It's a square that has 1 mile on one side and 1 mile on the other side. It's huge. A square mile is a massive thing. I mean, honestly, it's a massive thing. So, square miles, each square mile of Alabama, if you spread the Alabamans out, you'd be 96 of them per square mile. Now what we're going to do is we're going to drag that formula down. I'm going to see this little, when you click on the cell, there's a little blue square, or excuse me, a little green square that shows up right here. I'm going to drag it down 1. And when you do that, you get the number 1, which might seem a little strange until you realize that's what this number divided by this number is about equal to. 1 person per square mile. So yeah, Alaska is 10 times bigger than Alabama, but it also has about 100 times fewer people per square mile than Alabama. Why? Because most of Alaska is above the, oh, I shouldn't say most, a lot of Alaska is above the Arctic Circle. It's very uninhabitable regions. Most of Alaska you wouldn't want to live in, at least not year round. Drag it down again, we'll pick up Arizona. Arizona has 61 people per square mile. So far, Alabama has the greatest population density of the three. Now, I think you see where this is going. We need to drag this all the way down to the bottom. And then you'll get all of the population densities all the way down from Alabama all the way down to Wyoming. And then when you look back at your homework, I ask you lots of questions about this. What's the most populous? What's the state's population? What's the least populous? What's the state's population? And then population dense starts coming in. Okay, so that is how you use this spreadsheet, and as soon as I get this video uploaded, I will have that linked to this right here, and you can get to it, and then you can do your own per capita calculations. All right, have at it. We'll see you in class.